What's up guys? Today we're going to do something a little bit different and talk about a product from Under Armour called the Under Armour SPORTSMASK. I think it's currently sold out until like September-ish. I was lucky enough to get my hands on a pair, shout out to my siblings, and it does retail for $30, which is slightly expensive. So I'll talk about whether or not I think it's been worth it. I have used it for workouts. For context, I do high intensity style workouts in conjunction with strength training. So I'll talk about my experience using the mask with those two styles and the general feel of what I noticed when I use this product. Before I got the Under Armour mask, I primarily used cheaper masks, like the ones made out of cloth with kind of an elastic band or the disposable kind. And I never really had issues with them as far as comfort or breathability, but I also never had to use a mask while working out. So I was curious as to how the Under Armour mask would hold up. So out of the bag for the Under Armour mask, you're gonna get two things, the mask itself, and then you're gonna get a carrying pouch to put your mask inside. There's nothing too special about the carrying pouch. It's a drawstring style, and it also has an area where you can put your ID number so that you don't mix it up with someone else that might have the same thing. Talking about the actual design of the mask, I like it a lot. The bands that go around your ears are made out of this material called isochill. It's soft and stretchy, but it's also lightweight. So if you wear the mask for long periods of time, it's still pretty comfortable. The outer part of the mask is supposed to be pretty water resistant, and it's also made out of this ventilated, breathable fabric. We'll test that out in a little bit. Also, the inside of the material is made out of this material that's supposed to help repel odors and smells from forming more quickly than traditional masks. I noticed that there's two things that really set the mask apart from other masks. The first is the contour of the mask. You'll notice how there's a little shape in it already, and that's supposed to kind of mimic the lines of your mouth and your jaw. And then there's also this little wire thing on the top and bottom frames that kind of stay in place if you move it, so you can adjust it more personally to the shape of your face. I noticed that with those two things, with the contour of the mouth as well as those frame on the top and bottom, when I'm breathing heavier in a workout, it prevents the main mouth part from sucking in as I'm breathing heavy. Because if you're breathing heavy in a workout, the last thing you want to do is cut off that airflow entirely. And Under Armour actually found a way to prevent a lot of that from happening. On a more traditional cloth mask, you'll notice that with this one, the bands are pretty comfortable because they're lightweight and stretchy, and it actually does fit into kind of the shape of a mouth. However, because they don't have the frame on the top and bottom, when I'm breathing heavy in a workout, I'll still find that the mouth part kind of gets sucked in and makes it almost impossible for me to breathe. Whereas on a more disposable mask like this, it's lightweight, and it actually does have the frame on the top so you can adjust it to the contours of your face. But because of the material, and I think it's supposed to be disposable anyways, it doesn't handle moisture well, but also because it doesn't really fit into the shape of your mouth, it doesn't really stay in place when you're moving quickly in a workout. As far as comfort goes, it does fit a lot better than the other masks do. It fits the shape of my face a bit better. Like I said though, I never really had issues breathing with the other masks, but I have noticed an improvement in breathability here, and they do advertise it as a mesh fabric that's easier to breathe in. If I could complain about one thing, there are some areas of the mask where the stitching doesn't seem quite right, and the wiring, although they do their job, it does feel kind of cheap and flimsy, so I don't know how well they're going to hold up in the long term. It still makes the mask better than any of the other masks that I've used. I would just expect something a bit higher quality retailing for $30. I do notice a little bit of air escaping out of the top. They do have these frames, but it does have little holes where air can escape up. But yeah, from my experience, it's very comfortable. I would use it for everyday use if I'm going out to the grocery store or something. It would definitely not be an issue there. But the reason I'm interested in this product is to see how well it holds up if you're using it for working out or performance. So let's talk about that. To test the mask in the context of strength training, I did front squats. Front squats are a movement where it can be hard to breathe already because the bar sits on your airway. And I didn't do anything crazy. I just built up in weight, and honestly, I had no issues breathing. It almost felt like I didn't have the mask on at all. It wasn't until probably like the last set or two where the weight got pretty heavy for me, and I was breathing heavy on each rep, where I noticed that my breathing was a little bit affected, but it wasn't anything to the point where I felt as though I was going to get hurt or anything along those lines. I also did a set of front squats at a moderate weight with a traditional cloth mask, and my breathing did pick up in pace a little bit, but even with that small increase, I noticed that the cloth of the mask was already starting to get sucked into my mouth as I was taking deeper breath, and that's definitely not what you want in any context of strength training. But yeah, I didn't really have any issues the entire time, and it was really comfortable. Okay, the not so fun test. Let's see how well the Under Armour Sports Mask performs in high intensity workouts. To test this, we're going to do a quick workout consisting of 15 calories on the bike, followed right into 20 burpees. If you're not familiar with the context of high intensity workouts or functional fitness training, the assault bike and burpees are commonly used movements that bump up that heart rate and also force you to breathe a lot heavier. When I tested the workout with a cloth mask, the breathing really doesn't pick up until the burpees. And the first thing I noticed as my breathing got heavier is that on each inhale, the cloth got sucked into my mouth and blocked any air from going in. And it pretty much made it impossible for me to breathe during the burpees. Now this is definitely a stress test. You won't be doing this style of workouts all the time, but I still don't know if cloth masks are a viable option for high intensity style training. Similarly, I did the same workout with the blue disposable mask, and it actually held up better than the cloth mask did. When I got to the burpees, I was able to breathe a little better, but because it doesn't really have a frame or a structure to the design, the mask would crawl up to the point where the top of the mask was hitting my eyes. And then about 10 burpees in, as my breathing got heavier, the material of the mask was again starting to cut off my air on every one of the inhales. And last but not least, the Under Armour Sports Mask. So again, the bike was fine, and when I got to the burpees, I definitely still noticed the mask being there. Even though the mesh improves the breathability, you still notice that the mask is there under high stress settings. But the best part of the mask wasn't the mesh fabric in my opinion, it was the design itself. The contour of the mouth part, as well as the top and bottom frames, keep the mask shape in place. And so as my breathing got heavier, unlike the other two styles of mask, the material wouldn't get sucked up into my mouth, and thankfully I didn't have to suffocate through the burpees. Realistically speaking, the workout that I did is a full throttle high intensity style of workout, and it's probably not one you're going to do all the time, but I've still had issues with the other style of mask where if my breathing gets a little bit heavier, the cloth really gets in the way. The Under Armour mask does a great job of alleviating that problem and prevents any kind of obstruction from blocking your mouth. That being said, for most styles of training, the sports mask will probably hold up great. If you're looking for a mask that you plan on using for workouts, it's been a huge improvement for me over the other styles of masks that I mentioned in the video. But yeah, after using it for the workouts, if you're in the boat of having to use a mask and you still want to get a workout in, the Under Armour mask is definitely better than any of the masks that I've used before. You can breathe a lot better in it. It's also a lot more comfortable and more durable. The price tag is a little bit discouraging, but I would say for the ways that I work out and just everyday type of wear, the mask holds up for everything that I need it for. So it's probably going to be my go-to mask moving forward. So it's definitely something that I would recommend if you have the $30 to spare. I hope you guys found this information helpful. If you're on the fence about whether or not you wanted to get the Under Armour Sports Mask, if you liked the video, we have workouts and other fitness related content on our channel, so make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.